He sat at the corner booth of the small-town diner, fidgeting with the worn leather wallet in his hands. Inside, all he had was $3.75. 3 crumpled bills, 75 cents in coins, and a sinking weight in his chest. James was a single dad, a veteran who'd once carried the weight of nations on his shoulders. But tonight, he carried only the guilt of knowing he shouldn't even be here. He had promised himself that every dollar would go toward his daughter's school shoes, her favorite pancakes, her future. And yet, here he was on a blind date arranged by a well-meaning buddy from his old unit who swore he needed to live a little again. The bell above the door jingled, and in walked his date. She was graceful, dressed simple but neat, smiling shyly as she scanned the room. James straightened, forcing a polite grin. His heart pounded, part nerves, part shame. How was he supposed to buy her dinner with $3.75? At the next table, Harper leaned back in the booth, her tattooed arms crossed loosely. She wasn't supposed to be here either. The heiress to one of the largest motorcycle empires in the country, she had slipped away from a world of polished charity galas and empty conversations. The diner, with its squeaky vinyl seats and smell of frying bacon, felt real. She noticed him the moment he sat down. Broad-shouldered, a bit weathered, but his eyes, kind, tired, and honest. Then she saw it, the way he subtly counted coins under the table, the hesitation before he looked at the menu, the faint tremor of worry across his face when his date picked up hers. Harper froze. She had seen men throw thousands on champagne just to look powerful. But this man, this veteran, was fighting a private war with $3.75, and yet still trying to give someone a chance at seeing him beyond it. James's date ordered coffee and a salad. He stuck to water, saying he wasn't too hungry. But his stomach betrayed him, growling loud enough for Harper to hear 2 booths away. His face burned red. The conversation stumbled along, polite but stiff. His date was kind, but distracted, checking her phone every few minutes. James laughed when she cracked a joke, though inside he was praying she wouldn't order anything more expensive. That was when Harper made her decision. She stood, smoothed her leather jacket, and walked over. "Excuse me," Harper said with a playful grin. "Hate to interrupt, but this booth is cursed. The seat sinks and the server always forgets this table. Why don't you guys join me? I've got a better spot." Both James and his date blinked. His date smiled politely, eager to shift the awkwardness elsewhere. Within minutes, they were all squeezed into Harper's booth. When the waitress returned, Harper didn't hesitate. 3 burgers, 3 milkshakes, fries for the table. "And put it on my tab." James stiffened. "Wait, I can't let you." Harper cut him off with a grin. "Relax, soldier. Consider it a thank you for saving me from eating alone." He stared at her, confused. Most people never noticed him anymore, let alone offered kindness without strings. The meal arrived. His date barely touched her food, too busy scrolling through messages. But James ate like a man who hadn't in days. Not rushed, not greedy, but grateful. Every bite carried weight. Harper noticed. As the conversation flowed, she asked about his daughter. His eyes lit up, the first real spark of life she'd seen. He talked about bedtime stories, pancakes on Sundays, how she liked to braid his hair before school. And in that moment, Harper realized, this man wasn't poor. He was rich in all the ways that mattered. His date eventually excused herself, claiming an early morning meeting. James only nodded, not surprised. Once she left, it was just him and Harper. "Look," James said quietly, staring at the last fry. "I didn't belong here tonight. I only had $3.75. I shouldn't have even tried. But, thank you. For seeing me. For not making me feel small." Harper's throat tightened. Here she was, born into wealth most people couldn't dream of, yet she had never met someone who carried dignity like him even when broke. She reached across the table, her tattooed hand covering his calloused one. "You know what I saw tonight," she said softly. "A man who came here with nothing and still tried to give everything. That's rare. And that's worth more than any fortune." They sat there until the diner lights dimmed for closing, trading stories about war zones and motorcycle rallies, about single parenthood and a life spent under family expectations. Two strangers who shouldn't have crossed paths yet did. As they walked out, Harper stopped him by his truck. "James," she said, pulling a small card from her jacket, "you don't owe me a thing. But if you ever want to ride again, not just bikes, but life, call me." For the first time in years, James felt something he thought he had lost forever: hope. And Harper, the biker heiress who had everything, realized that sometimes the richest thing you can do is simply notice the person sitting across from you. Because kindness, quiet, uncalculated, human kindness, changes everything.